These aren't the stories your mother told you. No, these are the other stories.
Today's episode of The Other Stories is a bonus remaster of an episode we first published all the way back in 2017. Now we've re-seasoned the meat, plucked out a couple of maggots here and there, and are serving it up on a shiny, steamy platter with brand new audio production. Why? Well, we recently put a call out for new audio producers to join the team and wanted to let them make their bones with some of our most beloved material. So today I'm happy to present the latest producer to the fold, Czarzasty Uzochukwu, who said we can simply address him as Z. Z is a talented audio editor based in Nigeria. He has over 4 years of experience and specialises in delivering top-tier audio editing, mastering and sound design services for all genres. You can connect with Z on Twitter or X at Studio55Audios, or you can email him at czarzastyyuzochukwu@gmail.com. So, today's episode is The Emerald Children, Reanimated, written by Daniel Wilcox and narrated by Josh Curran.
I can't feel my fingers anymore, let alone my feet and toes. The rope they bound me with is uncomfortable, biting into the skin, irritating, as though one of the children is rubbing sandpaper furiously against the flesh until the blood begins to spill. Maybe they are. I wouldn't be able to tell. The kids are practically silent, busying themselves like worker bees in a colossal hive. I hadn't even heard them when they'd snuck into the church, pulled the large front doors open and carried me from the pew where I'd been napping. So maybe not worker bees, maybe some kind of ant. They're all still at it now, unrelenting. Kids are lucky like that. They have those endless reserves of energy that keep them going far beyond the hours when adults are able to keep up. Come on, come on.
Sou durante a vida, podemos sonhar com a morte.
I mumble through gritted teeth, feeling sweat break out all over my naked body. The rope is bound tight, but a few hours ago I found a sharp snag of rot that jutted out behind me, and I'd been sawing away ever since. It's not as easy as they make it look in the films. A quick slash and the hero is free. But I feel like I'm making progress. There's a tingly sensation coming to my fingers as the rope loosens and the blood begins to flow again. In the large cavern below, the thousands of children run their roots in the straight lines that weave along the stony floor. I'm somewhere high up on a ledge, able to overlook it all. The walls are lit with thick torches, and there is a roaring waterfall at the cave entrance a few hundred meters to my left, allowing daylight to cast a shimmering blue light all around. No bats though, a little disappointing. The padding of the children's feet beats a steady drum rhythm. On the far wall, across the gaping void, I can make out the outline of colossal paintings, scratches in the rock that have been darkened and decorated with colour. The drawings each depicting the same thing in strange variations. 1,000 small bodies hunched over in perfect lines. Around the edges, winged demons lord over the little ones and guard them with whips and chains, some of the small bodies bleeding and fallen. In the centre of them all is a colossal eye with a crucifix in the pupil, a man with a beard and a skinny torso strung up to the cross, guts spilling on the floor. Some kind of sacrifice. God, I don't know how long it's been since they brought me here. Could be days, could be more. I've been trying to work out what that painting means. I'm no small fruit when it comes to knowledge around ancient cultures, the Greeks, the Mayans and the like, but this is something that I've never seen before. The all-watching eye, guarded by the shapes of bat-like men, seems far too mythical for any kind of reality on my part. Yet, Here were the children in their neat little lines, clutching dark objects in their hands that I can't quite make out from this height, disappearing down a small tunnel in the furthest reaches of the open cavern into God knows where. It's several hours later that I realise that I've fallen asleep again, and I wake with a start. There's a rush of air and the beating of heavy wings in the dark that has fallen with the night. I look down and can just make out the shape of some colossal creature swooping over the heads of the children, none of them paying any attention whatsoever, heads soaking wet from walking through the waterfall as they march towards the tunnel. The swooping thing screeches, a high-pitched scratching sound that bounces off the cave walls. I follow it as it rises in the air and heads straight towards me. Eyes a pinprick of green, like two laser pointers in the dark. My hair ripples, and I feel the rush of air. It glides inches from my body with a cackle. I can't believe what I'm seeing. It's a man of sorts, with a wider than average wingspan and two bat-like wings stretching from the tips of his fingers to the bottom of his toes. Another screech calls somewhere in the cave, telling me that there's more than one of them. There's a second where I wonder if this is all part of some strange nightmare. I try to slap myself around the face, but feel the bonds pull me back. I take once more to soaring, even more desperate to find my freedom, desperate to get back to the pastor and pray for the forgiveness of my sins. Sometime later, I feel the rope wearing to a thin thread. A few more rubs against the rock, and I'm free. The rope falls to the floor in pieces. I keep my hands behind my back, not wishing to alert the winged demons whose number has now grown to 5. My guess is that their eyes are sharper than mine, and they'll be able to see if I suddenly start celebrating my freedom. Now what about my legs? For the first time since I arrive, I turn my attention from the severe drop before me, away from the curious tip-tap of children silently walking, and look to my left and right. The ledge is maybe a couple foot wide and tapers to nothingness on my left. On my right, however, I see the ledge thicken, and if I'm not mistaken, the shape of a small opening that might have been the door they carried me through before tying me up. I bide my time, watching for any particular patterns in the demon's movements, but there is none. As the golden light of dawn twinkles off the body of the waterfall, I make my move, keen to get going before one of them comes for me. I've seen them lick their lips as they swoop nearby, taunting me with the updraft of the powerful wings. I shuffle. The rope squeezes around my ankles and I nearly topple. A few stray rocks kick down and clatter loudly off the surface of the wall. A couple of the children turn their heads, then the rest in a ripple effect as I bend my knees and take huge hops towards the small opening. A tunnel. Yes, definitely a tunnel now. There's a screech, but not of anger. I hear their wings, but make it to the tunnel and crawl inside as I hear them land on the ledge I had been on moments before. There's a strange sensation of the air pulsing all around me, and I realise that they're using sonar to track me as I disappear into the dark. I'm sweating now, thick globs of liquid, and the rock is rough against my bare skin. I sign the cross on my chest and continue forward. The demons refuse to follow me, but I'm not stupid enough to stay still. I'm twice the size of the children, and I imagine that they know these tunnels better than anyone. All I need to do is keep moving, untie my ankles, and my hand touches something smooth and slick. I lose balance and feel my body begin to slide down a sharp gradient. The tunnel twists and turns as small pebbles and stones slash tiny strips into my flesh. I'm heading down, wind rushing through my hair, nothing but darkness ahead. My mouth opens, ready to let out a cry of pain as something sharp slashes a gash straight down my chest. I see a small light appear. It's beautiful, dazzling. A moment later, I feel a blinding pain as my head hits a rock. Now all I see is stars. I dream of a great emerald eye swimming in a thick pool of murky water. A ring of crows swarming and diving at a pit of corpses, the blood spilling, channeling into the mouth of a giant beast with unquenchable thirst. 1,000 children skipping in a circle, hands no more than bones of a skeleton as they cry blood and stamp on the bodies, juicing the corpses until all that remains is pulpy human flesh. A wind warmer than an equator summer day tears across the ashen landscape, magnifying the smell of decay until I feel the heat of vomit rise in my throat. A voice calls out in a language I cannot understand.
Videl icet cum icho Christi etiam flugum filei resurrectus.
The eye. It all comes back to the eye. I feel myself fidget, tossing and turning. The vision of hellish fury begins to fade with every blink, and I feel the cold of bare rock against my back. The familiar feeling of rope is back around my wrists, and for a second I believe that maybe I'm back on the ledge in the cave. I can't remember the last time I ate. Maybe I've imagined the entire escape and it was all a dream. Until I hear movement beside me. The shuffling of feet. I open my eyes and see the form of dozens of children towering over me. Faces blank, hair thick and long, skin dark with mud and grime, despite the routine cleanse from the waterfall. By my feet is a small obelisk-like structure with 2 prongs topped on either side. It is decorated in miniature versions of the painting etched on the walls, with ancient runes running along the length of each corner. I feel my pulse quicken. What is this? What are you going to do to me? Let me go! The children are stone-faced. No response. I struggle against the ties. I grunt, I shout, I scream until there's no energy left to give. What do you want? I ask. The answer comes from a deep voice behind me and out of sight. I hear the sound of a winged demon landing.
Isn't it obvious?
The face of the demon lords above me. 2 emerald green eyes bright in the dark.
You're our sacrifice to the Great One. Let us bestow upon him the blood of Christ, that the children of the corn may rise again.
I am speechless from fright. The children of the corn? The blood of Christ? It's then that I realise that I'm not lying on bare rock. I'm tied flat on a large crucifix, my long brown hair tickling my face. It's not the first time that it's been commented how closely I resemble our Lord and Saviour, Jesus Christ. It's the only time I've ever felt fear from the comparison. The children part as the demon walks around my body, eyes like lampreys. Several more land behind me and take position around my body. Their smell is overwhelming, like soil mixed with the stale scent of burnt-out barbecue. Tears silently fall down my cheeks. There's a white-hot lightning pain across my body, and I look to see the first demon with a whip in his hand. A red line of blood, perfectly straight, etched down on my naked stomach. Another jolt of pain as the demon to his left copies the whipping. Then the next. Then the next. Slashes crisscross my stomach in a matter of moments, sometimes catching my chin, sometimes catching my leg, often catching my genitals, until I feel the warm blood begin to soak over my body and stain the cross. There's a small channel beneath me where the blood collects and is guided towards the obelisk as a gutter channels rain. The instant the blood touches the obelisk's base, the runes begin to glow. The same emerald green of the demon's eyes. It whirls and travels upwards until there's an explosion of light. My eyes burn, but I can't shield them. I must simply watch and suffer, as a great green eye appears suspended between the two prongs. And oh, how the demons laugh.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of The Other Stories. The Emerald Children was written by Daniel Wilcox, narrated by Josh Curran, produced by Chidosia Uzochukwu, with music by Blair Moon and Ad Neon Lux and Tom Robson, and sound effects provided by freesound.org. The episode illustration was provided by Luke Spooner of Carry On House. A quick thanks to our community managers Jasmine Arch, Joshua Boucher and his eyeless ones, Mary Pastrano and Cody Czarzasty, and to Joshua Boucher for helping with our submission reading, and of course to Ben Errington for the ongoing explosion of content he fires out of his social media cannon. Daniel Wilcox is an international best-selling author and award-winning podcaster of dark fiction. He's an author coach, a quarter of digital story studio Hawk and Cleaver, co-founder of this podcast, and CEO of horror imprint Devil's Rock Publishing. Dan is furiously passionate about creativity and productivity. He's written 60 plus books since 2015 for himself and on behalf of ghostwriting clients. His mission in life is to activate creatives and authors to ensure they keep their creative flames and passions burning in a sustainable, positive and healthy way. Josh Curran is a narrator and writer. He's narrated many episodes of The Other Stories over the show's lifetime. He's also the creator of the horror audio drama podcast Miscreation. You can follow him on Twitter at @JCurranWriter. The Other Stories is a production of the Story Studio Hawk and Cleaver and is brought to you with a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. That means don't change it, don't sell it, but by all means share the hell out of it. So,
Until next time.